If you're in the mood for real food, it's Concord Food Co-op.
All right, welcome to the Concord Co-op Community Connections. I am Nazzy from the Pulse of New Hampshire, joined by my new co-star, Miss Kim Brandis from the Concord Food Co-op. Now, Kim, the baton has been passed to you by Greg. Are you ready to pick it up and run with you, or are you going to drop the spirit stick?
I'm going to pick it up and run with it.
Did anybody get the reference there? Did anybody bring it on? Nobody?
Bring it on, right? Yeah.
Abigail got it. There we go. All right. So let's introduce our guest today. We've got Abigail. Say your last name for me.
McShinsky.
And she's an herbalist and a writer who lives in Franklin and serves as the education manager at Mega Food. That's a local company that internationally crafts high-quality supplements with key ingredients, and they're ethically sourced from trusted partners. And we've had you on before, and so excited by that. Also, Dr. Madalyn Otto. She is a neuropathic doctor and certified functional medicine practitioner. Practice is located at Whole Foods Concord, right on Broadway. You can't miss it in Concord. Can't miss it. She specializes in getting to the root causes of illness and reducing dependency on medications and surgery. And of course, you can contact Dr. Otto right through her website, naturalmedicinenh.com. Ladies, thank you so very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us. And thrilled to be on with Dr. Otto. Big fan of the practice there.
There you go. That's really cool. All right, so today we're talking about something that until about 5 minutes ago I had never heard of, and Kim kind of brought me into this. Turmeric for inflammation support. Now, Kim, can you explain to me so a turmeric is a root? What is it?
Yeah, so it's like the root of a plant. For those watching, that's kind of what it looks like.
So Kim's holding it up right now. It looks like ginger root or something like that. Kim, what does it smell like?
Not much of anything. A little earthy.
Yeah. All right. So does it smell like a ginger root, or does it smell like a tree?
No. It doesn't smell like much of anything.
All right.
It definitely does not smell like ginger. You will not confuse the two. By smell anyway.
So let's jump right into it here with Dr. Otto. So let's talk about how this does help with inflammation.
Mm-hmm. And it would be kind of fun for Abigail and I to sort of piggyback on this, because I'm sure, in our practice, we use a ton of turmeric, usually in its extracted forms in part, which I'll talk about. But herbalists and naturopaths, use this a lot to support all kinds of things in the body, but inflammation being kind of the hub here. So through actually a lot of different, what we call mechanisms in the body, curcumin or turmeric is used to help modulate that. We sort of use the term anti-inflammatory simply because that's kind of a word people are familiar with. A lot of drugs work that way. If you're taking a medication for joint pain, for example, you're using an anti-inflammatory a lot of times, like Advil or something. Right. But the way that herbs work, and including turmeric, is that it's more of an immune modulator or an inflammation modulator. So it doesn't exactly, if you think of inflammation in the body being, the thing that causes pain, is sort of the storm that causes pain in your body when there's an injury of some sort, acute or chronic. Think of it as like this fire that's taking over the system, that's burning the forest down. And in anti-inflammatory, in the sort of medication sense, is kind of throwing a hose on it and really just completely addressing all the fire everywhere. But the thing is that fires in the body, when they're small and very specifically designed by the body, like a slash and burn, where they're controlled, are actually really therapeutic. And so there can be some downsides to taking a hose on inflammation. An herb like turmeric is actually going to act more like a modulator, in that you're going to be able to kind of address the fire where you need to, but not completely turn everything off. So you don't get the same sort of negative side effect profile of medication, but you have a similar kind of benefit.
Yeah, and at Mega Food, one of the things we say is healthy inflammation support, which kind of sounds like a misnomer. How can inflammation be healthy? But to Dr. Otto's point, it's a natural biological process that's helping us heal, but it can get haywire. And there's a lot of reasons that this response can go haywire, whether there's chronic irritation from injury and reuse of something like a joint, but cellular inflammation often brought on by our diet and pollutants. So it's not inflammation we feel, but it can be oftentimes a root cause of disease. And so definitely something that we want to keep in mind. And there's a lot of ways that we can, with diet, combat it. And turmeric is one of those beautiful things that I love as an herbalist, because it crosses the boundary between food and herb, and like medical types, medicinal supplement.
Right. Kim, did you want to add anything? I see Kim's nodding her head here. Did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I had a question. So is there a difference between taking a turmeric supplement versus just adding turmeric into your diet? Yeah. Is one better than the other?
Yeah, so I'm sure Abigail has some feedback on this too. There's a huge difference, and it really comes down to concentration. So, well, actually, I'll break it down. There's concentration, and then there's bioavailability, or your body's ability to move it across from the gut into the actual body, into the bloodstream, and then into different tissues. So in terms of the concentration, when you take a turmeric, or the Latin name is curcuma, if you take a supplement of that herb, you are getting usually tens, if not hundreds of times more than you would possibly be able to get in through diet. Turmeric is also, if you taste it in small doses, is it doesn't have much of a flavor, but if you were to take a concentrated amount of it, man, you will not do it more than once. It's a really intense tasting, very kind of bitter herb. So, you're not going to want to eat a lot of it. It's good to add in little bits in food, but the supplement's going to be just on a whole different level. The other piece is being able to absorb it. So turmeric is very notoriously poorly absorbed through food. So when you eat the food, if you eat it in your diet regularly, you will get some of the systemic benefit over long term, but not really enough to kind of like do the most therapeutic effect. It'd be more preventative. And most of the benefit is actually going to be in the microbiome, because when you consume this herb through your diet, it's really working on the intestinal tract, and it's really affecting your good bacteria and things like that. When you take a supplement, most supplements have little bioenhancers, or they've been basically manufactured in such a way that your body's able to get more out of the plant and you get the kind of body-wide benefits from it. So that would be the other main difference between eating it versus getting a supplement of it. And both are great.
Can you take too much turmeric? Is that a thing? Is there negative effects if you take too much?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
It's hard to do. I have had a couple of patients who have a pretty strong reaction to it. Usually, like with a lot of herbs, it's going to be gut. You'll get a little diarrhea or upset stomach. But other than that, it's an extremely safe herb. And the therapeutic window, which is the term we use to describe, the range and dosing that is medicinal or has positive health effects, is very wide and has a very high upper limit. So we can use, smaller amounts for smaller problems, and we can use much higher amounts for much larger, inflammatory diseases, and it's very safe.
Yeah. Abigail, did you want to add anything to what Dr. Otto just said?
All spot on. And I think just to demystify it for the consumer, who's listening, who's going to the co-op, if you don't have someone like Dr. Otto to guide you, any reputable supplement company has done a lot of the work for you, to Dr. Otto's point. So we're including things that traditionally have been used by Indian Ayurvedic cultures paired with turmeric forever, like black pepper helps to pull it into the bloodstream. So like at Megafood, we did the work for you. You don't have to worry about optimizing it if you take a turmeric supplement from us. And I just, to Dr. Otto's other point about how it can have this great impact in the gut, we've combined it with a probiotic in one of our formulations, and we don't include anything to pull it into the bloodstream because we want it to do its hard work there. So it's just a really versatile herb. And if you find a good company, like one sold at the co-op, oftentimes they're doing the hard work for you to make it nice and easy.
That's
all right. The co-op carries a handful of Megafoods turmeric supplements as well in our health and wellness department.
So is it now, Abigail, you just said that you add it to like a probiotic.
Yes.
How do you guys do that? I mean, do you mash them both up into a powder and they go into the probiotic and it's a pill, or how do you ingest that?
Yeah, we take our powder. We're really lucky at Megafood to have a source within the U.S. of turmeric. Mostly comes from overseas, but we have a lovely farm in Hawaii that we work with, and we basically powder it and slowly dry it to maintain all those curcuminoids, those beneficial compounds, and then we blend it with a prepared turmeric blend and put it in a capsule.
Oh, and Kim, that's available at Co-op.
Yep, you can buy it at the Co-op.
Okay, I need to come in and check this out. Now here's the thing too. Kim started to ask this question. Are there any downsides? Are there any negatives? Obviously, as you said, Dr. Otto, if you take too much, you'll just get an upset belly. But are there any downsides? It doesn't sound like there are many downsides to this.
No, it's one of those. There's a reason why, if you were to, go on the internet at large, you're going to find so many positive things said about turmeric. But even if you go into, if you were, in the healthcare field, or you're a researcher and you wanted to go into a medical research database and search it, you're going to see a lot of really positive research about its use. But also, across the board, you're going to see it's very minimal side effect profile. It's hard to, unless you have an allergy to it or something, it's pretty hard to see negative effects from it.
Which leads me. Well, go ahead, finish your thought, and then
even medication interactions are extremely minimal for the most part. You should always check with your doctor before starting anything if you do take pharmaceutical medications, because someone who maybe is on a cancer medication or something like that would be an exception, but for the most part, it's really safe and doesn't interact with a lot of stuff.
All right, so that kind of leads me to my next thought. Let's say somebody is on a medication, a pharmaceutical medication, they can't take turmeric. What's the next thing? What's the next natural herb that we have at the co-op that Megafood has? What's the next step?
I don't think there's anything that quite compares with turmeric, to be honest. And to Dr. Otto's point, it's probably our most clinically studied, like medically studied botanical. I don't think there's anything that quite compares, but your observation, Nazzy, earlier was spot on when Kim held up that turmeric root. It is a relative of ginger. So ginger can oftentimes, they're cousins.
Yeah.
They're related. So ginger is something that occasionally folks might turn to for a little additional support, but it still doesn't really hold a candle to turmeric. And when I look at foundational health and people who are looking at starting supplements, I believe in turmeric so strongly. It's part of what I call my Fab Four. You need a multi, you need a probiotic, you need turmeric, and here in New Hampshire, I would argue we also all need D3 in most cases. But turmeric really is foundational.
I would echo that, and I would speak to the ginger piece of it, which is also a pretty safe herb. The thing is, ginger is very, very spicy. And so even in a capsule form, it's very warming, and it can, it creates it is more likely in high doses to cause more belly upset. It's actually used to help digestion, so it's not bad for digestion, but it can be really spicy, and that one in particular really needs to be taken with food because it can cause some reflux symptoms in a lot of people.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I knew that was ginger. We have a juicer. And we'll add some oranges, and we'll add some, local produce, local fruit, beets. My wife loves beets, and we'll throw in a little chunk of ginger, and it has
Spice
that.
It up a little.
Yeah, it has that little bit of spice, and then it smells so good. So that's why I recognize that already. And ginger can last for a while in your refrigerator. Yeah. You can pick off it for a while. How long does turmeric last? So let's say we were to go to the co-op, and Kim, they have it at the co-op, right? Correct? We have.
Yeah, we can find it right in our produce department or the supplements in our health and wellness department.
All right. How long does it last? Let's say we got a chunk like Kim was just holding up a moment ago. How long would that last and do I have to refrigerate it like I would ginger?
Yeah, you'd want to keep it refrigerated, and it would last a couple of weeks. But it's still going to succumb like any other produce might. But if we're looking at the supplement or the powder, we've got pretty long shelf lives on those, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
One of the kind of older applications, or more not long-standing applications of it as a dietary source would also be in something called golden milk. And you can, a person can kind of Google a recipe for that. Oh, we got some golden milk here.
Right. Abigail's holding up a little mason jar of it. Yep. Go ahead.
It's a way to use you could use the fresh fruit and grate it into basically, you're kind of making a tea with it with some other spices. It's really tasty and has this beautiful golden color from the turmeric. Mm-hmm. And it's a nice way to use it as well from the root.
What a great idea. I could add that to my juice.
Definitely add it to juice. Yeah.
I could add that to my juice. Now, Kim, you were shaking your head. Have you ever tried that?
I haven't. I've seen it before. I haven't tried it.
Yeah. It's cool.
You might actually, does the co-op have any golden milk? There are some like kind of pre-made formulas. You probably have some of those.
I'm pretty sure we have some of those up in the store. Yeah.
The co-op has so many wonderful things. And I know Kim is going to tell us the big announcement that the hot bar is open again, which we're very excited about. We're getting back to normal. which I think is great. So in the few minutes we have left, we'll start with Abigail. Abigail, tell us a little bit about some of the products that you do have available at the co-op. And I'm sure, Kim, you can jump in and kind of fill in any of the spots. So take it away, Abigail.
So when it comes to turmeric, we've got lots of options. We've got turmeric tablets for folks. We even have gummies and powders. So regardless of how you like your supplements, outside of turmeric, we've pretty much kind of got it all. Your multivitamins, your probiotics, your B complex, that D3 that we all need. So if you have supplement needs, more often than not, MegaFood has you covered.
Yeah, I would say almost every category in our health and wellness department, MegaFood has a product in that category.
Where is it in the store, Kim? So when you walk in,
right when you walk in, it's right before you get to the registers. That whole section is our health and wellness section.
It's right there. And then over to Dr. Otto. Tell us a little bit about your practice. You're right there on Broadway. Tell us a little bit about what you do there too.
Yeah, so we're new to this location. I guess 2020 is like a blur. So we got here right before we moved into this particular location right before the pandemic. So we're kitty corner from Tucker's. That's how easy we are to find.
Yep.
And so our practice is a family practice, naturopathic based. So we are treating people of all ages for a wide array of different issues. Most of our patients come to us with complex chronic illnesses. They've oftentimes been to a whole bunch of specialists and doctors before they end up in our office, but not always. Sometimes we've got people who are really just proactive about their health and want to have somebody on their healthcare team that's kind of looking at the whole picture and trying to incorporate natural and lifestyle medicine as much as possible. So that's my goal, is to wherever a patient is at, that's where we want to support them. For people who want to incorporate more of an integrative approach into their healthcare team, we're there to support you through that. If a person is trying to really kind of hit the ground running and they want to make some serious lifestyle changes and really work on reversing some of their chronic health issues, whether it's diabetes, heart disease, irritable bowel, autoimmune disease, can be a really fantastic approach where we can reverse a lot of that without medication, without surgical procedures, in a lot of cases, which is awesome.
And I imagine you recommend a lot of the products that Abigail has from MegaFood because it's natural, it's local. Yeah.
It's encouraging. We try to use resources that are encouraging the body to do its job better, rather than trying to, shut things off or, turn off the body's responses to its environment. We're trying to alter our environment and allow our body to respond in a healthier way. And that's where the natural stuff really comes into play. It helps the body do what it does right better.
Just helps it more natural. And then that's where the co-op comes in, because that's where you can find the product. See, this is a nice relationship. This is a really good marriage between these three amazing things. We start with Dr. Otto, we get recommended the MegaFood, and then we go on into the co-op, and there it is right there. And that's where Kim comes in. I think this is a great thing. Ladies, in the we're going to turn it over to Kim. In the minute and a half that we have left, tell us a little bit about the co-op. Obviously, the hot bar is open again. What other changes have happened in the past few weeks at the co-op?
So Hot Bar's open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Our produce department is starting to get pretty stocked up with local produce. To name a few: blueberries, tomatoes, kale, radishes, lettuce, all from local farms in New Hampshire. We're still offering our co-op e-shop too, so you can shop for everything from the co-op online, including MegaFood products, and you can pick them up curbside right at the co-op.
All right. So are you going to keep that? Is that something that even as the world starts to open up, we're going to keep that going?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll just keep it going.
I
people
really
are using it.
I really think you should. And in the final few seconds we have too, Kim, talk a little bit about the Rounded Up program, which I think is amazing. Who are we supporting this month with the Rounded Up?
This month, you can round it up at the register for the Boys and Girls Club of Central New Hampshire. So anytime you shop at the co-op, you can just say round it up. Well, they'll round up to the next dollar, and that money all goes to the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, and I mean, every penny goes in to help these people. And just to speak a little bit about the Boys and Girls Club, they didn't close down during the pandemic. They were open all last year because the families of the first responders, they needed daycare for their kids. They needed places for their kids to go. So Boys and Girls Club was there. Abigail, thank you very much. Really quick, give out your website, Abigail, if you could.
Megafood.com.
That's it. And Dr. Otto, yours as well?
Naturalmedicinenh.com.
And finally, Kim, you get the final word.
ConcordFoodCoop.coop.
Excellent. Ladies, thank you very much. We'll see you next time on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
If you're in the mood for real food, it's Concord Food Co-op.